Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm waiting for a few people to come in. Good afternoon. How is everybody doing? How is everything going? I was just trying to sit here and clean up my car. But I have a message for you all. I have a message. I was sitting here riding around, and I got this message, and I couldn't wait to park to deliver this message. I couldn't wait. I was like itching, I got to get this out. You know, when I have something in me, I have to get it out. It was like, I have to get it out. So I stopped, I parked, and I say, you know what, let me go live. Can you all hear me? Does it sound like I'm far away? Because I have my charger, so my phone won't go dead. Because when I start talking on my phone, it tends to go dead quick. Oh, thank you so much, Texas. Thank you. I got a message today. I really do. This gonna help somebody. I know it helped me. This gonna help somebody. This gonna deliver somebody today. I know it is, because I was just sitting here thinking about my own journey and my own process. Yes, it's gonna help somebody. Thank you, Rising Soul. Hello. Here's Rising Soul. This message is going to help someone. Let me give a few more people time to come in. How is everybody afternoon? How is everyone afternoon? My afternoon is going well. I'm doing good. I'm blessed. I can't complain. I cannot complain. Especially with everything that's going on. I can't even fix my mouth to complain about one thing. I can't even fix my mouth to complain. But I'm waiting for a few more people to come in. A few more people. Yes, Justice B. I forgot to put the hashtag. I'm gonna go back and add it. I'm gonna go back and add it. But I got a message for the chosen ones. Now, this message is not for everyone. This is a message for the chosen ones. You see the title. You see the title, right? And I couldn't wait to stop. I say I got this title. I'm like, Lord, have your way. Have your way. I thought about a few things, but I'm like, Lord, you use me to say what you want me to say. Right? So when I got this topic here, and this is for the chosen ones. It's not for everyone. Everyone is not going to relate to it because it's not for you. If you can't relate, it's not for you, and it's okay. Every message I hear on YouTube don't be for me. I know how to stroll, and I know how to go past it. This message is for the chosen ones. And the topic is, it takes all of that. It takes all of that. It takes everything you got in you. You hear me? It takes you praying. It takes you fasting. It takes you getting coaching. It takes you seeing a therapist. It takes you getting delivered, going to a deliverance minister. It takes all of that. It takes you reading, getting new knowledge. It takes all of that. It takes all of that. It takes journaling. It takes saying your affirmations. It takes reading the word of God. It takes all of that for you to get delivered. It takes everything in you to fight for your healing. Yes, it does. That's what I want to come talk to you about. It takes all of that. It takes you listening to people like me or listening to podcasts. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It takes you isolating yourself by yourself so you can hear what God is trying to tell you. So you can shut down the noise from everyone. And you can listen to what your spirit man is trying to say. It takes all of that. Yes, it takes all of that. In order for you to get your healing, you have to do whatever you have to do by any means necessary. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. Only thing you better not do is you can't fight the devil with the devil. You can't be out here trying to see no psychic. That's not what I'm talking about. You can't be putting on no stones, no energy stones, no bracelet. You can't be smudging no sage. I'm not talking about that when it comes to your healing. When it comes to your healing, you have to do everything that's in the boundaries, right? In the boundaries of what's right, in the boundaries of God, what's right, that's not causing more harm to you. It takes all of that. Chosen ones, it takes a lot. Don't let people tell you it doesn't take all of that. It takes all of that, because the chosen ones, most of you have been abused and misused all of your life. So it's going to take you more than it's going to take you to do more to get your deliverance, to get your healing, than anyone else. Chosen ones, there was a direct attack on you as a person. There was a direct attack on your spirit from the womb. I talked about this the other day. You've been ostracized. You've been talked about. You've been misused. You've been abused all of your life. So it's going to take, right? It's going to take all of that for you to heal. It's going to take fasting. It's going to take prayer. It's going to take coaching. It's going to take reading. It's going to take steps for you to heal. It's a process for you to unlearn, for you to get rid of all the abuse you went through. And most of the abuse you went through was attack on your mind. Your mental was under attack. That's why you still can hear people saying things about you. You hear people's voices in your mind saying that you're ugly. You're not going to be anything. No one is going to want you. You're this, you're that. You can still hear those voices in your head. You know why? Because you have not renewed your mind. You have not renewed your mind. You have not gotten information. You have not unlearned. You have not prayed enough. You have not fasted enough. You got to keep doing it. It takes work. This is why people continue to go through cycles. They continue to go through cycles because they don't have enough information. They don't have the knowledge. They're not equipped to fight. Chosen ones, you got to become equipped to fight. And you talking to someone, you're looking at someone who I stayed in my emotions. And that's how the enemy attack you. Because you stay in your emotions. You have to get out of that emotional state. Not saying you deny your emotions, but don't be in your emotions. This is why I talk about healing. I talk about healing so much because if the enemy knows he can keep us in that emotional state, that's why you stayed in that abusive relationship for so long. You were too emotional. You went around the same circle 20, 30, 40, 50 years because you was on that emotional roller coaster. Oh no, that emotional hamster wheel. You was going around and around and around because you never dealt with that emotion. That's why you went to church. You went to church. Sorry, somebody was calling me, so I probably went out. You went to church thinking that going to church was going to help you. And going to church don't help you. Right? And don't twist my words. Listen to what I'm saying. Because you're talking to somebody who did this. I still go to church. But going to church doesn't help you. You're going through an emotion. It's not until you start applying the word of God, applying what that preacher is preaching to you. You have to apply it, not just hear it. You have to do what the word is saying. And most of us sit in church and we don't do. We just go, we hear, but we don't do. We don't do. And we don't do because we don't get a personal relationship so God can give us revelation. It wasn't until, let me tell you what happened to me. I stayed in my emotions. When I tell you I stayed in my emotions, I always felt guilty. You know, I always felt guilty because I dealt with that spirit of rejection. I had that spirit of rejection. I had that spirit of abandonment on me. I was so concerned. I had that people-pleasing spirit. I was so worried about what people was going to think of me. Or, you know, I didn't want to hurt people's feelings if I said that. I was so concerned because I haven't dealt with me emotionally. I allowed people to abuse me and misuse me because I didn't deal with myself emotionally. No, I hadn't dealt with that. I hadn't faced self emotionally. So I allowed people to mistreat me. I allowed people to disrespect me because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know that I was stuck in this emotional state. I was stuck in this emotional state. And to be honest, you know, people can pick up on that. People know when they can use you, when you're emotional, when they can make you feel guilty. That's why when you're in an abusive relationship, people know how to play on your emotions. They know how to make you do and say what they want you to do and say. They know how to get a reaction out of you because they've studied your emotions. They know what triggers you. That's why people know what triggers you. Why do you think you've been in that relationship 20 years, 30 years, and that person can do the same thing and cause you to be triggered? Take you through this emotional roller coaster. 1 minute they love you, the next minute they don't love you. 1 minute they feel like they love you, the next minute they cheating on you. 1 minute they love you, the next minute they don't got a baby on you. 1 minute they love you, now they got a different woman. The next minute they love you, now they got a different woman. The next minute they love you, now it's another woman. Why do you think that? Why do you think you did some of the things that you did when you know in your spirit some of the things that you were doing, what you did were not really who you were? Like, why? You ask yourself, why did I do that? Because you was in your emotions. You were not healed. You were not healed. Put a 1 in the chat. Come on now, communicate with me. Put a 1 in the chat if you know you did things out of emotion. Put a 1 in the chat. Let me know. You've done things out of emotion and you knew that's not that's not your character. Put a 1 in the chat. You know that's not who you are. But because you're not healed in your emotions, you did things. I know I've done it. Oh, I've done it. I've done it. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here. Tell the truth, shame the devil. I have done it. This is why I say it takes all of that. It takes prayer. It takes fasting. It takes coaching. It takes reading books, getting new knowledge. When you get new knowledge, you can do things different. That's how come most of us had money in our early years and we wasted money. And now that we're older and wiser, it happened to me. Now that we're older and wiser, I look back on when I was younger. I was like, I could have invested that money. I could have did this and that. But guess what? I didn't have the knowledge. So therefore, if I didn't have the knowledge, if I was ignorant, I could not have done this, that, and the other because I didn't have the knowledge at that time. I have the knowledge now, but I didn't have the knowledge then. This is why I say you have to learn to heal. This is what the responsibility channel is all about. This is what it's all about. When the Lord dropped in my spirit, gave me this name for this channel here, responsibility, I didn't understand. I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know what he was doing. I'm like, it sounds weird. It sounds weird, but I just felt this urgency to do what I need to do to get this off the ground, right? But the reason God gave me the responsibility channel, because I had to be responsible. I had to be the channel he wanted me to produce. He wanted me to start. I had to be the walking example. Okay, I had to coach myself. That's what I had to do. It was so funny. I caught myself going to see a therapist. Just trying to sign up to go see a therapist. That didn't work out. That's another story, but it didn't even work out. Because, see, I thought I needed a therapist. Most of you think you need a therapist. Not saying that you don't, but most of you think you need a therapist. The only thing you need is to deal with you. That's what you need first, to deal with you. Look at yourself. You don't need nothing. You don't need no therapist to tell you that you should have been left that relationship. You don't need no therapist to tell you that. The reason you need a therapist to tell you that because you're not healed. You're still in your emotional state. You're still emotional. You're still dealing with your childhood issues. You don't need a therapist to tell you. That's the first thing that's the first thing they ask you. Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about your childhood. They could tell you anything you need to know when you tell them about your childhood. Did you have your mama there, your daddy there? Were you abused? It goes from there. That's what I do in some of my coaching. I do that in some of my coaching. Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about your childhood. I can tell if you rejected, abandoned, you have to deal with it. I can tell. It starts there. Same thing I had to do. I had to face myself. That's what I had to do. When I had to coach myself through it, the Lord showed me. This is why you're this way. You still got rejection and abandonment issues. Deal with this first. Then when you deal with your rejection and abandonment issues, right? I want you to break that spirit of codependency. Then when you break that spirit of codependency, I want you to get a backbone. And when you get a backbone, then I want you to start speaking up and standing up for yourself. Then when you start speaking up and standing up, now it's time to set boundaries. Then when you start setting boundaries, you can't be so concerned about what people say. You have to let people think what they want to think. Because now you got healthy boundaries. Yes, they're going to get mad because you no longer serve the purpose you used to serve in their life. This is why you allowed this person to abuse you for so long, because you don't have a backbone. And in your mind, you're creating this fantasy of how you want your life. You're creating this fantasy, and in reality, it's nothing like that. So once I came to realization about that, it was up from there. It was up. This is why you're dealing with this. He had to coach me. He had to take me through it. This is why you're dealing with this. This is why you allowed that person to, abuse you. This is why you allowed that person to disrespect you all, for 20 years. It was showing me light, and I just woke up. But this was this came along with me praying, fasting, doing the work, getting new knowledge, studying. I've been doing this for years, trying to understand, why did I do this? Okay, why did I do this? Why am I still going around this? It was one time, let me tell you something. It was one time I was in a situation and I was on a hamster wheel. Some of you could attest to it. Put this in the chat. Every year, and this was a cycle, and this was a demonic cycle that I know prayer and fasting was the only reason I broke this cycle. Every year around the same time, I experienced the same thing. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys experience that. Every year around the same time, I experienced the same exact thing. And I didn't understand it was something spiritual until God had to show me. And I had to fast and pray to break that foolishness. Every year, I don't care if it's a seasonal, what they call seasonal depression. I don't care if it's called you going through, like, you don't have money, or it's every year I went through this one thing. And I finally broke that thing. And let me tell you why I finally broke it. Because I finally got the new knowledge, and I finally came to grips with my truth. See, I didn't want to come to terms with my truth because I had my life planned how I wanted it. My little fantasy in my head, in reality, it didn't match. See, when I woke up out that fantasy, the reality sunk in, right? Look, my reality sunk in, and I said, you know what? This is what I got to do. I got to face this. I never wanted to face it. I never wanted to face that issue because it didn't fit my reality. It didn't fit my fantasy. My fantasy, you know, women, we good at this. Put it 1 in the chat. Women, we can create a whole narrative. We don't create it. This whole narrative, this Prince Charming, we don't create this perfect world in our minds. Oh, we got this whole new world, a whole new, well, that's a whole new world up in here. We got a whole new world up in here. Fantasy, just creating illusions, things that ain't even true. We try to make people be who they're not. You know, women, we are create a Prince Charming in our head. We know that man ain't no Prince Charming. We'll create a whole Prince Charming, and he ain't even a charming. We'll make him what we want him to be. We just be putting pieces together. Them pieces just falling apart. They slide. You trying to put the piece together. They just slide down, falling down. We still trying to glue it. We trying to nail it down. Knowing that man ain't like you fantasize him in his head. Because you want that. Because see, you are broken, or I'm gonna say broken. You need to heal. So that unhealed version of you created this entire fantasy that you don't paint it. Knowing that man is not what you want him to be. He needs to do his healing. But you don't create a whole, you don't paint the whole, you got this joker coming out of GQ. You gotta come and you don't paint him, he's stepping out of GQ. And he on the front cover of Playboy over there. Or Playgirl. What them other magazines is. Yeah. He shouldn't be in no GQ, but we create these fantasies. We create these fantasies. But it wasn't until I dealt and I faced my truth that I start seeing God do the work in me. Because it takes all of that. Chosen ones. For you, it takes all of that. For other people who are not chosen, it doesn't take all of that. See, it takes all of that for you because you've been hurt so much You need everything. You need the prayer. You need the fasting. You need the affirmation. You need the coaching. You need everything. You need to go to deliverance conference. You got to keep going. It's work. This is why most people give up. It is work. It is action every day. It's something you have to do every day. It takes work. And see, let me tell you something, be honest. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I ran. Good morning, Victoria. I ran from the work for years because I didn't want to face the truth. See, when you keep going around circles over and over, sometimes that can be a spirit of denial. You be in denial. You already know that relationship is not going to work. You know that relationship been dead, but because of your brokenness and because you're not healed, you tried to make it work. You tried to make it be something that it was not. That's why you didn't have peace. That's why you didn't have peace. You trying to find out the problem and you're married to it. You trying to find out what's wrong with you. You trying to pray, fast. You trying to do all of that and you married to the problem. The issue is not you. The issue is what you connected to. That's why you never had peace. You never had peace. Oh, thank you for the $4.99 super chat, Dominique. Thank you, dear, so much. That's why you never had peace. You trying to pray, you're trying to fast, and you connected to the problem. You sleeping with the problem. That's why you spent cycles and years going around the same thing. Going around the same cycle. Going up and down, round and round. That wasn't supposed to be, chosen one. And let me tell you why the enemy sent that relationship. I mean, you want me to tell you? Put a one in the chat. You want me to tell you why the enemy sent that person in your life to keep you on that hamster wheel. To keep you on that hamster wheel. Put a one in the chat. I'm going to tell you. Let me know if it's for you. Put a one in the chat. Yes, exactly. Yes, Dominique. Let me tell you. Put a one in the chat if you want me to tell you why the enemy sent that person in your life to keep you distracted, to keep you focused on them, to keep you couldn't even read your word. You didn't even, when this person came into your life, because chosen ones, we're spiritual beings. We've always had a connection to God. Even in our brokenness, even when we were trying to learn who we were, we still had a relationship with God. We still had a personal relationship. We've been had that because we're spiritual. We just got it like that. We were born that way. No one had to tell us. No one had to force us. But when this person came in your life, you got distracted. You got distracted. Some of y'all stopped going to church. Some of y'all stopped reading your Bibles. Some of y'all stopped praying. Some of y'all stopped fasting. Everything was about them. Everything was to worship them. And you want me to tell you why that person came into your life? Because that person wanted to be your God. The enemy sent that person in your life to make them, put them in the place of God. That's what they did. The enemy sent that person in your life to put them in the place of where God should be. And also to distract you from your purpose. To distract you. That's what happened. Oh, yes. Your parents. Oh, let me tell you something. We're not going to talk about that. That'll be for another video. Look, we'll be here all day on that. The enemy uses people. When it comes to the chosen ones, let me tell you how the enemy get you. The enemy always uses those who he knows you really want their validation. and affirmation. You want their approval. This is why I talk about healing. Because when you heal, you know your approval, your validation, your affirmation comes from God. But when you're seeking this from other people, you can't focus on what God wants you to do. You want that validation from your parents because we were taught that our parents supposed to be there to love us. But let me tell you something. Some parents hate their children. Some parents jealous of their children. And see, we don't want to believe it because what society and what the Bible teaches us. And it's true. It's true. It does. These parents, some parents are jealous of their daughter. Some mothers are jealous of their daughters. Some fathers is jealous of their sons. Some mothers put so much pressure on their daughters so their daughters could be who they want them to be. This is why I tell you, parents, when your children become adults, you have to release them. Give them to God. Give your children to God. They are adults. You can't control their lives. And some mothers, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this today, and I'm going to say this now because God put it on my heart. Some of y'all mothers, it is not your child's responsibility to tend to your emotional needs, to take care of you, to worship you. You need to get help and see a therapist. It is not your child's responsibility to meet your every need because you brought them into this world. That's not your child's responsibility. Stop putting pressure on these children to bow and worship you as a mother. Be responsible and meet and take care of your own needs, your own emotional needs. Women, it is not your son's responsibility to make you feel how a partner, a husband's supposed to make you feel. Take all that pressure off that man, that young man. He's not there to meet your emotional needs. That's emotional incest. Emotional incest. He can't even take care of his family because he's trying to meet your needs emotionally. That's foolishness. Putting pressure on him unnecessarily. Unnecessarily. Can't even take care of his family because mama over there want this man to meet all of her. Get you a man. Get you a husband. Get you a husband. He's not your son is not your husband. Let these kids be free. Let these young men, mothers, let these women live their life. They're going to make mistakes. Let them live. Women out here, these mothers out here making these wives feel like they got to compete for the emotional affection for their husbands because his emotion is misplaced. That's out of order. That's out of order. That's out of order. She got to compete with the affection of your mother. Not saying you got to hate your mother. You can respect and love her. But don't get married if you're not going to put your wife first. And that don't mean that you can't be there for your mother. That don't mean that you can't take care of her. This the foolishness. That's why these families are dysfunctional. These children are dysfunctional. Because the mother don't want to get married because she married to her son. She know her son gonna be there. that daughter-in-law sitting there competing with her mother-in-law for the emotional affection of her husband. That's some foolish stuff. That's some foolishness. But anyways, it takes all of that. It takes all of that. Let me get back on topic here. It takes chosen ones. And see, that's another thing. Chosen ones. You've experienced so much abuse, even in marriages. Even in marriages. An example that I just gave, right? You've experienced so much abuse that it came from all angles. Childhood, marriage, just family. So it's going to take all of that to heal, to get you to a place where you're stable in your emotions. This is when you know you're stable in your emotions. Let me tell you. This is one way I learned when I was finally healed. Right? When I was finally healed and healing, let me tell you when I knew. 2 ways I knew I was finally healing and I was delivered. Number 1, I wasn't afraid to say no without feeling guilty. And number 2, I became confrontational. I became confrontational, not in a nasty way, but I'm going to say something. You're not going to quiet me up. If it don't feel good, if you don't make me feel good, I'm going to say something. If you're doing something to me, I'm going to say something. I'm not going to sit there and let you rule and reign and cause confusion in my life and I don't say nothing. That's when I knew I was delivered and healed. Because chosen ones, we have a problem being confrontational when we're not healed. We have a problem with being confrontational and the problem with saying no without feeling guilty. No is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. That's what no is. You need conflict. You need conflict so people can know what boundaries are. When they come into your life doing all kind of craziness, type of craziness, you can say, you know what? If you're going to be in my life, this is what we're not going to do. You can't do this to me. You cannot do this to me. You can't say this to me. When you come to my house, this is how we do it in my house. You don't have to come here if you can't do it this way. That's when I knew I was healed and delivered. Because before, the old Monique, I was afraid to say no. Oh, yes, I was just a little yes sheep, little yes man. Oh, yes, whatever kind of food you like on Coming to America. I did this with everybody. Whatever kind of food you like. Whatever kind of food. Yes, I only do women only, Devin. God called me to women. Listen. Yeah, I only do women. Whatever kind of food you like. You say yes. You be afraid to say no. You know, I was so emotional. Let me tell you something. I was so emotional and foolish. I'm gonna say I was foolish. I'm gonna say it. Because I didn't know. Right? Until the Lord opened my eyes. I allowed a person to mistreat me. Now tell me if this is not crazy. Or just out of broken. Let me tell you, now I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be honest, and I have to, because God has put it in my heart. Put a 1 in the chat after I say this. There was a person that was in my life, right? There was a person in my life for over 20 years. And they were supposed to be in a place to where we should have been on conversational terms, right? This person used to come to my house and everything. Don't you know, because out of my broken and ignorance and me wanting to keep the peace and me wanting to just, people please, and I was afraid, right? This person used to come to my house and she never really talked to me. Never once tried to strike up a conversation. Never once asked me how I was doing. Never once. And see, I couldn't do the same for her because I felt the guard up. I felt the negative vibes. I felt the pretentiousness. I knew she didn't like me. But for over 20 years, off and on, this person came to my house. I never had a conversation with her. I don't know nothing about her. Tell me if that's not crazy. Put a one in the chat. Isn't that crazy? Put that one in the chat. Let me know. I don't know nothing about her. Don't know what color she like. Don't know what she like. Don't know her favorite food. Don't know nothing about this woman. And she used to come to my house. This is the type of foolishness we got to heal from. But see, people think you wrong, right? When you finally wake up and you start setting boundaries. You start getting a backbone. This is the foolishness we got to stop doing as chosen ones. You still love God. You still are what they call saved. You still believe because you don't let nobody run over you. You don't let anyone disrespect you. Oh, now you ain't loving people with the love of the Lord. No, you right. Because I don't love myself. If I don't love myself, there is no way I'm going to love you. No way. This is the craziness. Like, once I heal and I, think back on it, I'm like, that was asinine. That was some foolery. This was foolery that I tolerated all those years. But you know why? I was broken. My emotions were all over the place. The enemy used my emotions against me. This is why you have to heal. He will use the very thing that you're dealing with and battling with against you. But oh boy, let me tell you something about the chosen ones. Once you heal, you think you were weak when you were not healed. But the chosen ones, that opposite is just as strong. When they become healed, boy, they become a force to be reckoned with. You think they were emotional and low, the chosen ones, when they were unhealed? When they start healing, they become just as dangerous. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Because you're not going to be able to try the chosen ones any type of way. You can't try us any type of way now. And you ever notice once you get in that place and you finally heal, people can feel that on you. They won't try you like they tried you when you were unhealed. They can feel when you're guarded. They can feel when you're ready. So they won't try you. They won't say nothing. But when your guard is down, people say things to you. They do things to you. They know. Oh, they know. They know. You waiting for them. I used to just sit there and not say nothing, because I was so afraid because of the situation. I didn't want people mad at me. I didn't want to make that person mad. I didn't want to make this person mad because then they was going to say it was my fault. It's me. And you know what they still say? It's my fault. It's still me. It's still my fault, regardless. We're no longer concerned about what they're going to say. We're no longer concerned about what they're going to do. We're no longer concerned because we're healed. We know who we are. Even with the lies and the smear campaign, we still know who we are. Yes, we do. Because see, yes, let me tell you something about the chosen ones. The chosen one, once we find our strength, once we know who we are in Christ, oh, it'll be hard to divert. It's hard to go backwards. That's why the enemy wanted to keep you in your emotions. He wanted to keep you in your emotions because he know who to send. He know what to, hi, Angela. How are you doing, dear? He know who to send. He know what to tell them to say. Yes, he do. Yes, he do. That's why you have to heal. That's why you have to pray. That's why you have to fast. That's why you have to read books. That's why you have to get coaching. And it's to help you on your journey. That's why it helps you on your journey. For me to get where I am now, it took a journey. Now I'm heading to the fat grapes. But a few years ago, I wasn't here. No, I have not arrived, but I'm not in that emotional state anymore. I know what I have to do to get out of the situation that I was in. I know what I have to do now. And you know what? I've accepted what I have to do. We don't want to accept the truth sometimes. We don't want to accept the truth. That was my problem. One of my problems was I didn't want to accept the truth. The truth been there all the while. But see, my emotions had me stuck in the fantasy world, fantasy land. You know they got Disneyland? I was stuck in fantasy. Because Disney, that's fantasy land too. That's where those people go and pretend to be a child all over. I was in fantasy land. But now I understand the truth. And I've gotten new knowledge. Now I don't operate in my emotions. Oh, my feelings to and fro swaying me. Oh, I was so emotional. Let me tell y'all. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be blunt. I was so emotional. I didn't know if I was going or coming sometime. Going or coming. And people could come around and I call it like the dog whistle. The dog whistle. We can't hear the dog whistle. We can't hear that. Only the dog can hear that. And this is the only analogy I have, right? Only the dog can hear the whistle that's being blown. When you're emotional, you hear that dog whistle. And what I mean by you see the little sneaky stuff people do. You see the sneaky stuff that people do. Only you can see it. Nobody else can see it. They coming around. You can feel that energy on them. You can feel the little sneaky, nasty, conniving ways. They coming, planting their seeds of discord. You can feel that. You see it. Nobody else can see it. But the chosen ones, you got that dog whistle. You can see it, and you can hear it in the spirit. You can hear it. You see what they're doing. But nobody could see it but you. And see, if you say something when you were unhealed, you would be the problem. And see, you was afraid to be the problem because you didn't want to be rejected. This is why I talk about healing. You didn't want to be rejected. So you didn't want to be the problem. So you wouldn't say nothing. You didn't say nothing because you didn't want to be blamed. You didn't want to be blamed for it. Oh, I'm going to talk about it. Yes, you can feel it even when they don't speak. You can feel it. I remember I told one person that this person didn't like me. Oh, they were trying to gaslight me and make me feel like I was crazy. Oh no, I felt it all up in that spirit of hers. I felt it up all in that spirit. Oh yes, I felt it. You ain't gonna tell me. And that's why we couldn't connect, because I knew how you felt about me in your spirit. Every time this person came around, the energy just zapped out of the room. You ain't gonna tell me that I'm crazy when I can feel the tension, when I can feel the energy. You're not gonna tell me. Gaslight you in a minute. But see, this is why you have to heal, chosen one, because you won't fall victim to gaslighting. People making you feel like you're crazy, making you feel like you forgot, you know, trying to make you feel like you're forgetful, you're getting old or something. No, you know what's going on. You know what's going on. You know what's going on. Yes. Yes, trying to make you fit. That's gaslighting. That's manipulation. Eyes up forever. That's what that is. Yes. Confusion and calling you crazy is the devil's language. I've endured that for years. Years. But see, the reason I endured it because of emotions. You got to get out of your emotions. You got to heal. That's why I talk about this stuff. And healing is hard in the beginning because you got to face you. That's why it's called the responsibility channel. You have to face you, and we don't want to do that sometimes. I didn't want to do it. I ran. Oh, I ran. I was like, Forrest, run, Forrest, run. I ran. Boy, I was a runner. I was a runner. I ran like no other. I'm surprised I'm still the same size I am, because how much running I did, I should have been lost some weight. I should be thinner. Hi, Miranda. Thank you for joining. Yes. This is why I talk about healing so much. And healing comes in different forms and shapes. You don't always have to go to a therapist to get healing. You don't always have to go to a therapist. You don't. Hey, Larry. How are you doing, dear? Healing starts when you acknowledge that you need healing. Healing starts when you acknowledge something is going on with me. And you start, I got something that I'm working on. These messages, when God give me these messages, this is for YouTube, right? This is for YouTube. But I got something that I'm gonna start doing on Mondays. It'll be for memberships only. And it's not going to be that much. But I'm going to bring more strategies to group members who sign up for the membership. Right? Yes, self-deliverance. That's what God took me through. Who was that? Queen of the South. Yes, God took me through that. Self-deliverance. Oh, I had to do a lot of facing myself. I didn't want to, but once I started doing it, it became easier. It became easier. We have to heal our emotions. Don't deny your emotions, but just heal the emotions. Heal the mommy wounds. Heal the daddy wounds. Heal that stuff. Heal it. Face it. And sometimes it's just come by acknowledging it. Acknowledging that you come from a dysfunctional family. That's all. And we all do in some form. You will be surprised. Everybody got some dysfunction in their family. But the chosen ones, you've experienced a greater magnitude of dysfunction and abuse. Yes. You have gone through you went through greater pain. But can I tell you something, chosen ones? I thought about this morning. It wasn't last night. I thought about this. The chosen ones who, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. The chosen ones who've experienced the most pain. What was it I thought about? The chosen ones that experienced the most pain, who went through the most adversity. And this may sound crazy, but that was training for you. That was training. That was training. Training. Let me tell you what I mean by training. All that you went through, regardless of what it is, chosen one, it's going to work out for your good. It's going to work out. It made you stronger. That abuse that came in your life, that was your training period. Sometimes if it took you 20 years, you needed 20 years of training. If it took you 10 years, that's all you needed, 10 years. If it took 5 years, that's all you needed. Appreciate what you went through because it didn't break you. Appreciate what you've been through because you didn't lose your mind. Some of you thought you probably could have lost your mind, but you didn't. You're still here. Appreciate what you went through. Take the lessons from what you've experienced. Forgive. Let go. Thank them. Because what the enemy thought was going to harm you, it only strengthened you. It only strengthened you. Look at you now. It was hell going through it. I know it was. I've been through some. Listen, I've been through so much. Listen, when I start telling you all some of the things I've been through, you're going to be like, I don't believe her. I don't believe her. But that's what God will do. He'll take you through and make you look like what you done been through. What the little saying is, a little meme going around. God will take you through the fire and you'll come out not smelling like smoke. That's what he'll do for you. But you have to heal. You have to do the work. You have to do the work. Because one thing the enemy is after. Thank you so much, Dominique. One thing the enemy is after is this thing that's sitting on your neck. He's after this. The whole thing. Not just the mind. He after the head. Because if he can take this, anything associated with this, your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your mind, if he can take that, everything else gonna follow. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. Rosatier or Rositer. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'll just say Lisa. Thank you for the super chat. You and Dominique, thank you. If he can take this here, if he can take that, guess what? He's satisfied. He's satisfied. That's why you battle up here. They say the battlefield's the mind, and that's true. But you can fight if you got the right equipment. You can fight it. This is why I don't watch the news. See, the media knows something we don't know. The media can tell us and make us think things that are even not our thoughts. This is why I don't watch the news. This is why I'm careful what I allow into my eye gate. I'm very careful with that. I haven't watched TV in over 9 years. I look at it like, but I don't sit down to watch it. The media, social media, the media, medium, the middle person. They call it false prophet. It is a false prophet. They want to tell you what to think, what to believe. No, you should be getting your belief from the word of God. You should be telling yourself, this is why I don't watch the news. The news project fear in the people. There's nothing good about the news. This is why when everybody was panicking during 2020, I was at peace. I was at peace. I wasn't watching that foolery. Because we can't control stuff. Why are you going to watch it and you can't control what's going on in the world? What type of foolishness is that? Only person you can control is who? Is you. You can't control the news. You can't control what's going on in the world. You can't control that. Why are you going to get yourself upset by keep putting this foolishness in your spirit? Every time you turn around, they got something going on. It's hard enough dealing with the stuff in your own life. That's why some of you all, let me tell you, that's why some of you all can't sleep at night. That's the reason why. First thing, and see, I don't understand this. The people who get up and they say they're just addicted, they say they got to know what's going on. You don't have to know what's going on. Listen, the people who get up first thing in the morning, the first thing they do is turn on the news. You're just waking up out of your sleep state, and the first thing you put in your spirit is foolishness from off TV. No, the first thing you should be doing is saying your prayers, getting a devotion, getting into your word, listening to some motivational podcasts. That's what you should to start your day out good, giving yourself affirmations. But the first thing I hear people do as soon as they get up, they got to go stroll and get the negative news. You already don't started your day off bad. No, I don't do that. Mm-mm. 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 Nope. Nope. That's why you see people who are peaceful and happy, and you see some other people, you know, just walking around looking like, you know, because they don't got the news. The news is telling them how to be. Telling them how to behave and act. Soon as you wake up, you, If you drive and you want to know if there's a traffic jam, Google it. Google the traffic to see if a accident is on your way to work or something, if you need that. But just to sit there and, oh, this person got killed, this person did this person died, this person got, no. Yes, exactly, Angela. That's why so many people were fearful during the 2020. So many people scared to touch one another, scared to do this, scared to do no. And see, I realized this. That's why I stopped. I had a nail snag, and it was bothering me. I realized this, and I stopped years ago. And people think you're strange too, because you don't watch the news, you don't watch TV. You don't watch TV. What do you do? Read. That's what I do. Listen to learning podcasts and videos to help me build my business. That's what I do. Encourage people. Write. Create. Like, it's not the end of the world. Because you don't watch all this craziness on TV. That's why everybody looking the same. Everybody looking the same. Got the same makeup, the same wig, same outfit, same everything. Because of the media, projection, videos, everybody's looking the same, talking the same. Because they're telling you how to be. Telling you how to think. And then if you don't think like the masses, you crazy. What's wrong with you? No, what's wrong with y'all? Like, what's wrong with you? No, what's wrong with you all? Okay. But it does. I have to get back to the message. It does take all of that. It takes all of that. And don't feel like you're crazy. Yes. Nobody have their own style, Angela. Nobody has their own uniqueness. Everybody's following everybody, dressing the same, drinking the same, eating the same foods. It's like people are scared to be themselves. Like, it's crazy. And then when I be walking in the store, no uniqueness at all. When I be walking in the store, people just be looking at me. They just be staring like, but you know, as chosen ones, you have to get used to that. Don't take it personal when people stare at you. When people look at you and smile and they watch you, follow you out the door, you know. Don't think it's strange, okay? You stand out as a chosen one. You stand out. You do. Don't think it's strange when people just follow you, not around, but just like their heads follow you until you're out of their eyesight. They're trying to see what it is that's on you. Because you don't look like everybody else. There's a glow on you. There is a glow. There is something different. Right? Something different that people have not seen. You're unique. You stand out. I see it more than ever now. Not trying to say I'm all of that, but I notice the stares more often than ever now. I notice them now more often than ever. And I just smile. I smile and keep going. Yes. It's almost like they can't help themselves, Dominique, for real. I just came from out the store and I'm like, you know, they just look like, but you got to get used to that. In this world, and I'm not the type to speak and say this world is getting bad. I'm not one of those types, because the world is doing what it does. The world is going to be what it is, and it's going to do what it does. But you have the ability to be in this world, because God told us, the chosen ones, we're in this world, but we're not of it. So how, you know, you got to catch that spiritually. How you're not going to be of this world if you're in it. Right? And I got revelation on that. Spiritually, you're not here. You're here, but spiritually, you're not here. You're in it, but spiritually on a whole new level. Yes, you are. You're on a whole nother level. That's how you could be at peace when chaos is going on around you. Everybody else losing their minds. You sitting over there looking at them like, what's wrong with them? What is wrong with y'all over there? Y'all in the same world. You're in the same, physically, you're in the same world. But spiritually, you're in two different places. That's why you got to stop speaking what the world is speaking. Oh, this world's getting crazy. This world this world that. No, your world getting crazier. In my world, I'm in perfect peace. in my world. Oh, I don't want to bring children up in this world. No, in the world you're bringing them up in is crazy. But if God say I need to have children, I'm going to have children. I'm not going to put my limits. I'm not going to stop being fruitful and being a blessing because of what's going on in this world. I hear people saying that I don't want to have kids in this world. That's your world. Don't deny yourself the beauty of being a blessing, being a vessel for God by bringing a blessing in this world because of what you see going on. I'm not gonna speak that. That's one thing about chosen one. You got to learn. You got to learn what you say out of your mouth. You got to learn be careful what you say. That's what I meant. Be careful what you say. I had to learn that. Because see, your words carry weight. The chosen ones. Your words carries weight. It really does. You know it too. You know it. Because anything you have asked for, even if you got it out of ignorance, if you said it out of ignorance, you receive that thing. Put it one in the chat, chosen one. Anything that you've ever asked God for, right? Anything you have asked God for, you've gotten that thing. Even when you were asking for it out of ignorance. You got it. Words are very powerful. And see, we use words so loosely. And I even cut back. How much I talk, I even cut back on talking a lot. To be honest. Like, if I don't have a download, I don't too much talk as much as I used to. Nope. Nope. Words are powerful. That's why you can't be speaking ill over yourself. You can't be calling yourself names and saying what I can't do, what I won't do. I can't do this. I can't do. You can't. Don't speak that. Tell yourself you can, even if you feel you can't. You speak. You speak what you want to see. Speak what you want to see. That's why it's good too to counsel. Listen, when people used to say, because you know, people used to say I was and you know, we say this in a joking way. Oh, you crazy. You know, she's so crazy, as if, you know, you're funny. Even with that, I be rebuking that. Before, I used to laugh at it and be like, you know, see it as something just casual to say. I don't laugh at that no more. I don't laugh at that. Because that's speaking things on you. Even in a joking way. I have to go cancel that stuff out. I speak sound mind over me. I'm sound-minded, whole, healed. People want to speak this stuff on you until it manifests. Some of you have spoken stuff over your children too, out of ignorance. You've spoken stuff over your children, calling them names. You got to repent for that. Repent for it. And don't do it again. Tell God to forgive you out of ignorance. You didn't know. Your words are powerful. That's why this is how powerful words are. Put a 2 in the chat when I say this here. And this is how you know words are living. It's a living thing. Words is a living thing. Let me tell you how you know. Put a 2 in the chat. Your grandmother said something to you 50 years ago, and you still remember what she said. She didn't mean any harm. She maybe called you ugly, fat, called you nappy-headed, you're black. Put that too in the chat. Your mama said something to you. That lady dead and gone. Your mama been dead 20 years. And you still hear them words she said to you. You're fast. Nobody's not going to want you. She cursed you, told you you'll never be married because she didn't get married. But she spoke that over you, whoever this is for. You're going to have to curse that. You're going to have to renounce that. You break that off your life in the name of Jesus. You declare you will have a successful marriage. Yes, some of y'all parents don't spoke that. Some of your dads spoke over you. And you still hear them words. Even though they may have said it from a place out of their brokenness. But you still carry them words. You are. That's how powerful words are. Angela, my name was Big Head coming up, but that's okay. I didn't think nothing of it. I just said I got a lot of knowledge. Put a 2 in the chat. You still could hear what your ex-husband said. Nobody else is not going to want you. You used up. You're damaged goods. You got too many miles. What they talking about now? Your body count. Put a 2 in the chat. Spoke them words over you. You better rebuke that, and you better say what God tells you to say. You better speak what the Lord says. Words. Be careful of the words. This is why affirmations are so powerful. This is why journaling is so powerful. This is why. It takes all of that. It takes journaling. Takes saying your affirmations. Takes reading the Bible. Takes prayer, fasting, deliverance. It takes all of that. Takes getting new knowledge. It takes all of that. It takes all of that. Takes all of it. And it's not easy. We got to do the work. Time to do the work, chosen ones. Time to rise up. It takes all of that. Yes, it does. It takes all of that. And it's not easy. I wish I could tell you it was easy. It gets easier, but it's not easy starting out. Because your life will be disrupted. You will be disrupted in your normalcy. You being normal won't be you being complacent. I won't say normal. Complacent, you're going to be disrupted when you really start that journey. You're going to be disrupted. Everything you ever knew will be flipped upside down. And that's what we be afraid of, chosen ones. We do. Tell the truth, shame the devil. We be afraid of. We'll sit and ignore things for years because we don't want to do the work. We don't want to face the truth because we got our life planned out how we want it planned, how we got it, how we want it planned. We don't want to face it. We do not want to face it. We don't want to be uncomfortable. I did it for years. Oh, I didn't want to be uncomfortable. That was another thing that I ran from because I had this false sense of comfort. I had this false sense of comfort as if where I was better than where I could be going. Because where I was hell. But I was too afraid to take a chance to see what was on the other side because I was used to the dysfunction. I was used to and complacent to where I was. But I was so afraid to go and try to figure out what was on the other side of the door. I was too afraid to go try to experience the fat grapes. Now that I got a spiritual vision of the fat grapes, oh, I'm running from where I used to be. Look, I'm running from where I used to be. When God gave me a vision of the what could be, and as opposed to where I am or where I was, oh, I ran. I started running. I said, Lord, whatever I got to do, take whatever you got to take. I'm going over to the fat grapes. The fat grapes look better from over here. I want to experience the fat grapes because over here, I don't see no promise on this side. Let me at least go to what I see could be than to stay here. We act as if sometimes staying where we are is better than trying to go and find something new or experience something new because we're emotional. Emotion tells us to stay, right? Emotion tells us to stay where we are because it's comfortable. This is what you wanted. This is what you envisioned. No. Ooh. When I saw the fat grapes, I said, I'll give it all up. And I meant what I said. Listen, I have to figure it out. Listen, if I got to sleep on somebody's floor, give me a floor, give me a pillow and a cover. I'm good. That's the point I was at. I was at that point. I said, I'll give it all up if I have to. Because when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, oh, you'll give it all up. You'll sacrifice it all. That's when you know you're tired. When you let the dog go, when you let everything go, you know you tired. You tired. When you take it out on the little dog and the cat, when you say you gotta go too. The cat didn't do nothing to you. You tell the cat you gotta go. The dog, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It is a wrap. That's when you know you ready. Poor little dog, he just sitting there with little dog eyes, little big eyes looking, and the cat, and you say you gotta go too. Little animals ain't do nothing to you. And you don't kick them to the curb. But you want something new. This is when you know you're heading in the right direction too. Although you may not have to give it all up, you're willing. You're willing to. It's the willingness. It's like Abraham. When he took his son. Who was his son? Somebody tell me. Abraham, when he had to sacrifice his son. Was it Isaac? God was trying to see, was he willing? to do it. He didn't question God. Like, what type of foolery? I'm reading that. You know, you read that as a child. You were like, God telling him to kill his son? Oh, that's crazy. What type of God we supposed to be serving? Well, you know, you young. You don't be knowing this stuff because you got to get revelation. But when God was telling Abraham to sacrifice his son, I was looking at that naturally. Like, I can't, if he asked me to kill my child, I'm not going to kill my child. But you got to catch that thing in the spirit. What are you willing to sacrifice? If the Lord says you got to sacrifice that child, are you willing to sacrifice that child spiritually? Are you willing to stop running behind that child? Are you, especially them adult children, are you willing to stop being their bank? Are you willing to stop feeling guilty? And it could be your parents too. You got to be willing. Whatever he tells you to sacrifice, you got to be willing to. Are you willing to stop feeling guilty? Because you haven't healed from your brokenness as a child, so you're allowing that child to use you, use your emotions against you, knowing you haven't healed from your mommy issues, so your child is playing on your issues, your wounds. Are you willing to sacrifice that child? That's what he's asking you. This is a spiritual sacrifice. Are you willing? That's all. He's looking for willingness. Are you willing to sacrifice, knowing when you cut that child off, they may not talk to you again, ever? And God, you keep praying for them, and they may come back and talk to you, but you got to be willing. Are you willing? A lot of us not willing to do things because we still have to heal. Are you willing to have that conversation with that child, with your mom? Are you willing to let your mom know how she makes you feel without you feeling, because you know she's going to get mad, because you know your mamas, you can't sit down and talk to some of these moms and express yourself without them feeling like you're talking back or attacking them. Because see, everything they do is right. Their way is right. And their way is not always right. Your child can teach you a thing or two. I know mine have. They taught me something. But you got to be willing. A lot of us not willing to sacrifice. We're not willing. So that's what I wanted to come talk to you all about. Right? That's what I wanted to talk to you all about. And I hope this message resonated with someone. You can also book a coaching session with me. Right? You can also book a coaching session. You can go to my About page. I did lower my prices, for the holidays. I lowered my prices. So this is the best time to get in if you would like to book a session with me. Right? This is the best time. Even if you just need someone to talk to. Even if you need someone to talk to. You may just need clarity. And like I said, I have to charge for my time. I can't take personal calls because I'll be, spending my time, and I need my time to spend with my family. This is a service. So you have to pay for it. But go to the About page and click on book a session if you would like to book a session with me. I have a few slots open. But I had to bring this message because it was like burning in me. I said, I got to get this out. I got to go park. I have to get this message out. So I hope you all have a blessed day. And I hope you all focus on the reason that we celebrate Easter. Right? Go to the About page if you're interested. To my About page where it says book a session, and then it'll take you through the process. It's very easy. Very simple. But that's what I wanted to talk to you all about. Because sometimes, too, even with my coaching sessions, I understand you can't always talk to family. Sometimes it takes a stranger to talk to because you don't want to feel like you're being judged. You don't want to feel like you're being judged. And sometimes when people talk to strangers, they feel comfortable because the stranger don't know them. So they can't really pass judgment on them, even when they tell them some of the most horrific things. I know for me, right? I know for me, people used to just walk up to me and tell me stuff, and I'd be like, I would not tell nobody that. That's before I knew my call and knew what I was, called to do. Now that I'm healed, I understand why they did that. I understand why they do it now. Before I didn't understand, but I understand now. So feel free to book a coaching session with me. If you need somebody just to hear you out, you need a listening ear, that's fine. You may not want to come up with the actual coaching plan or a strategy for your life or to get over something. That's okay. That's okay. So be blessed, you all. Have a great day.